Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2015 movie Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So, in this movie, Rey, Finn, Poe Dameron, and Han Solo's search for Luke Skywalker in their fight in the Resistance led by General Leia Organa and veterans of the Rebel Alliance against Kylo Ren and the First Order, a successor to the Galactic Empire. They're trying to figure out how to stop Kylo Ren and everything, and they have to destroy Starkiller Base, which is a planet sized Death Star. So this movie is just I enjoy it. I have a lot of mixed feelings on the sequel trilogy and everything, but I think this was a pretty good introduction to the sequel trilogy and the characters. I really enjoyed it when it first came out. I saw it in theaters multiple times and everything, so I do somewhat have a love for it and everything. I don't like it as much as I used to, though, but I think it was a good introduction to him, and I loved getting to see the original cast back, especially Han Solo, who is once again played to perfection by Harrison Ford. He's just absolutely great again. But I think it's a good introduction to these characters, especially Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren and everything. Poe Dameron doesn't really have as much to do in this one. He's a bigger role in the other two movies. But I think that it was a good introduction to these characters and everything. Personally, really the only characters in the sequel trilogy that I really liked a lot, that I was really felt like I kind of got a little bit of an attachment to, are Rey and Kylo Ren. Finn is pretty good in the other movies, but this one is one where he shines the best. I think he's the best in this movie, and there was a lot of potential given to that character by the end of this movie, that if the series had continued on the right way, he could have been one of the best characters of the trilogy and everything, but they kind of just don't do enough with Finn in this trilogy. But I loved him in this movie and everything for sure. And Kylo Ren is a really good villain. He's definitely a step down from Darth Vader and stuff. He's pretty much like Darth Vader Jr., except not near as interesting, but he's still an interesting character and stuff. Him being Han and Leia's son was a pretty cool little twist when I first found out, although I kind of halfway expected him to be either Han and Leia's kid or Luke's kid, to be honest. So I wasn't really surprised when I saw the movie that he was one of their kids. But I think that all of the new characters are fine. John Williams' score is once again amazing. I think it's easily the best score out of the trilogy and stuff, but I love the music, especially the music that plays when Kylo Ren first comes on screen, his little theme music, and Rey's theme music. I really like her little theme music that plays and stuff. It's really good for her. Personally, I think it works really good for the character. And the action is pretty good, especially the lightsaber battle between Rey and Kylo Ren at the end of the movie, right after he kills Han Solo and stuff. First he takes a chance at fighting Finn, who has the lightsaber and stuff, and once he defeats Finn pretty easily, unfortunately, that's when we find out Rey is the one he's going to fight and everything. Although we knew already that Rey had Force powers and stuff, like something had awakened, the Force awakened in her, and that's why the movie's called The Force Awakens. But I think Rey is a really cool character. I know a lot of people love to hate on her and say how terrible she is and how she is Mary Sue and everything, when a lot of the stuff that people criticize Rey for, you could apply to Luke too in the original trilogy and everything. But she is kind of a rehash of Luke, but she's still a good enough character on her own. I don't really have anything against Rey like a lot of people do. And the cinematography in here is absolutely great. I think it's got some really good cinematography that not as good as, say, The Last Jedi. That's one of the things that The Last Jedi did do better, although this movie is, to me, a much better movie. And I think J.J. Abrams' directing is good enough. He's not one of my favorite directors, but I think he did an okay job with this movie. As far as the negatives go, there's a lot of unanswered questions in this movie. The rest of the trilogy contradicts a lot of the stuff from this movie, and it takes away from this movie a lot, knowing how the rest of the trilogy plays out and everything. They obviously had no plan of what they were going to do with this trilogy and everything. They didn't take their time to map out what they should do with it, and it toes in the whole trilogy. But as far as introduction goes, this one's okay. I do feel like it is kind of a rehash of A New Hope in a lot of ways, just with new characters and different situations and stuff, but this movie follows the same template as A New Hope and everything. But in a way, I kind of like that too. I mean, after how different the prequels were from the original trilogy, it was nice to have a movie that went with those movies, at least for a while anyway. Now I kind of just consider the entire sequel trilogy as fan fiction and everything, and in my head canon, Return of the Jedi is really where the franchise ends, but I can enjoy these as fan fiction movies. If I don't turn my brain off and think of the sequels as fan fiction, I can't enjoy them though. But I think it's a good start to an uneven trilogy. Despite its flaws, I do get some enjoyment out of it, mostly because of Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Once he comes on screen, the movie is just really entertaining, and he's great once again and everything. He gave a really great last performance, and when Han's death is still really emotional for me and everything. Like, every time I watch it, I still feel a little bit choked up and stuff seeing him die and everything. So this movie isn't complete garbage, and I do still have a liking to it. I just wouldn't say that it's one of my favorite movies anymore, and it's definitely not my favorite movie of 2015 anymore, unfortunately. But it's also partially because of Disney and the way they decided to do this trilogy and stuff. So all in all, I'm gonna be nice and give this movie a B, which is more than it probably deserves, but I do get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Like I said, Harrison Ford as Han Solo, he's great as Han in all of the movies and everything, and I felt like he did do a really great job, and he carried this movie pretty well. But I think Daisy Ridley and John Boyega both helped carry this movie really well too. The three performances from them and Harrison Ford were all great and everything. So, and Adam Driver is really good as Kylo Ren, and I think he gets better as the trilogy goes on though. But yeah, so all in all, this movie is just okay. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.